So Atul's done such a great job of talking about mentoring. I'm trying to figure out what more I can add to really contribute to the discussion today. I'm a technologist, so I actually have only one phone. I just carry an iPhone with me, and I'm very comfortable with it. Unfortunately, yeah. Actually, I'm older than you. I graduated in 1972 from IIT, and in those years, the microprocessor hadn't even been invented. So for a lot of us who were engineers and actually went into electronics and graduated in the 70s, the last 30 years now, 30, 40 years has really been very exciting because we've actually had to learn on the fly. Everything they taught us at IIT was obsolete within the first 5 to 6 years of our graduating. And that's why I think IIT give you a knowledge, but it does two other things for you. And I would believe that that is the same, not just for IITs, but for any educational institutions, including perhaps NU. Number one is that it gives you the discipline to understand how to solve problems. And number two, it gives you the ability to continuously learn right through your life. And that's when I saw the presentation today, it suddenly struck me that that's really a continuation of what the Indian education system has been for a very long time. And I'm glad that NIT is doing it, NU is doing it in a much bigger scale and across a much more wider, diversified range of subjects. But coming back to mentoring, I've worked for a large number of multinationals, and mentoring and coaching, as Atul mentioned, is something which is part and parcel of most multinational organizations, and I'm sure it's the same here in India with the large Indian organizations and conglomerates. The fact of the matter is that as you progress through your career, it's very, very important for you to understand the differences as you go through various levels. When you join a company for the first time, you're an individual contributor, and your span or your ability or the output which you produce is in a very limited fashion. There are certain attributes of being an individual contributor, and as you progress over the many years and then you become a manager, there is suddenly a big leap of faith, both in terms of your employer as well as you as the employee in terms of what you need to do. And it doesn't stop there, because once you become a manager, then you become a manager of managers, then you become a general manager, and then somewhere down the line you become an executive officer or a leader. And at each stage, the change or the transformation which has to take place is very, very high. It's not just about the knowledge and the learning, because you've got to continuously learn and as you go along. But more important, you've got to understand what the difference is with each one of these roles. And that's where mentoring and coaching comes in very, very useful. So I've had the opportunity to mentor a lot of people who've moved from what I would consider senior management into executive positions, like vice president's role, where you're in charge of a very large business. And those are, I guess, some of the advantages which you will get when you are exposed to the NU mentorship program. This is something which I think even very selected and few people within large organizations get access to. And I think that this is something which you will find extremely valuable. Now, what's the role of a mentor? As again, I'm going to have to relate to some of the points which you mentioned, Atul. I think Atul hit upon it very well. A mentor is a storyteller. And you've got to think about the mentor from that perspective. The mentor does actually four things. Actually, I prefer to talk about 4 areas where the mentor really plays an important role. So number one, he's a storyteller, but more important, he gives you a different perspective. I've been both a mentor as well as a mentee. And one of the interesting observations I found as a mentee is that when I was talking to my mentor and we were talking about, what I needed to do here in India and to grow the business in a particular line of business, and I told him this is the way I wanted to do it, he gave me a different perspective, a completely different perspective from what I thought it should be. He gave me a different way of testing out my hypothesis. He told me a completely different way of actually figuring out what the potential solutions or answers are. And that's what a mentor does. He gives you a different perspective. And he does it by telling you stories about his own experience. So perspectives is number one. Number two is sharing the experiences. I think if you look at some of the CEOs which NU have selected, you'll find that they are across a breadth of different industries and products. They're both global as well as national. And that's the experience which you won't find in books. And even if you did, it doesn't sound so real except when a mentor tells you a story. And then it's something which gets ingrained into you. So it's that ability to share those experiences is very, very critical. The other thing which I think you'll find that the mentor does, the third area where a mentor is really very useful, is that he will tell you that there is always a different alternative to something which you may have felt was the only way to do something. When you're in management school, you'll do a lot of case studies. And then when you get rated, typically there's always one answer which is good. You'll also find a host of data which is available for you to look at. But the fact is that in real life, you're most probably going to take decisions with either limited data or zero data, and you've still got to take a decision. And you've got to go ahead and make certain things happen. And your ability to do that is going to be, is going to decide how good a manager you are. And therefore, a mentor can talk to you and share about what he did in situations like that. So that's the perspective which comes only through experience. It comes through perhaps lots of experience. It comes about by making mistakes. And therefore, you get an opportunity to talk to people who are successful today, but who will also tell you how many mistakes they made. And that's something which you can then take back with you. The fifth area is all about if you are very clear about what you're looking for in terms of your education or your future, and if you have used your time in NU very, very productively, you'll most probably also realize that there's a lot more which you need to do as you progress in your career. And perhaps the mentor can be a person who can help you to put that development plan together. So it's not an end by itself, it's something which will help you to continue a journey. So to me, that's really the way you should use your mentor. He's a storyteller. He says it, he shares the stories with you in a way which is perhaps something which you will retain. He gives you a completely different perspective across different industries, perhaps across both international and global national context. He tells you that how to respond in different kinds of situations, and he helps you perhaps to put a development plan together. The best way to use a mentor is to be very clear about what kind of questions you're going to ask him. When you work with a coach, you actually write down the areas you actually want to develop. When you're with a mentor, you talk about how you can use his experiences to help shape your career better. You can try and relate what you're currently doing and ask him to give you a different perspective of that. So it's a different way in which you work with a mentor and a different way in which you work with a coach. A coach is a lot more planned. Coaching is a lot more planned. Mentoring is not so much planned, but it is about understanding and getting different views and different perspective of something which you have worked on. But it's worthwhile even checking it out further. Just to conclude, there is a Greek philosopher, Seneca, who once said that the only way to get success, or not the only way, that success is basically where preparation meets opportunity. I think all of you are pretty clear in your mind that India holds tremendous opportunities. What NU is going to do for you is to prepare you for those opportunities. And then I think all of you will get what you're looking for, which is how do you want to be successful in life. So thank you, Raji, for giving me the opportunity to share these thoughts with you. And I look forward to, if you have any further questions, to join the panel in trying to attempt at least to answer some of those. Thank you.